Okay, so we're going to do the fireside chat with Nollywood sensations. We're going to be talking about the journey so far. I would like to call on Daniel Etim-Effiong. Daniel Etim-Effiong. Okay. And I would also like to call on Omawumi Dada, the beautiful Omawumi Dada. And if I can please get Fine Boy Timini, that's what I call him. Fine Boy Timini.
Bad boy team.
Bad Boy Team.
Yeah.
Okay, Bad Boy Timini. And then if I can get Fresh Boy DME, Fresh Boy DME. They didn't ask for all these introductions, so it's me that added it. All right. And I know that Uzo is not around, so if we can please replace him with Stan.
Woo!
Mazi Stan.
Mazi.
You are a replacement, sir. Okay. And lastly, if I can please have Sheon Ajayi. Sheon Ajayi. You know what? Let me sit on the pink chair. Okay, so before we get started, this is a little off script because you guys are the current sensations right now in Nollywood. So I'd like for us to please rise real quick. Let's rise real quick. Now we're going to look at RMD, and we're going to look at Stella Damasos, and we're going to say, good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. Good afternoon, sir. Because they paved the way for us. They made it possible for us to be here today. So we're going to say, thank you, ma. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma. Thank you, sir.
We are grateful.
We're so grateful.
All right. So if you've been following,
They paved the way, but they're still collecting more money though.
because they are forever. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna just start with the first question. What are some of the memorable challenges that you faced in your journey as an actor, and how did you overcome them? And this can be for anybody.
Since I got the mic.
The most memorable challenges. We all know why we're laughing. The whole of being in Nollywood is a memorable challenge.
It's a big challenge.
Okay.
For me, I think the first thing that happened with me was I was when I started out, I was really skinny and much darker. I I didn't bleach, but yeah,
Really hard to imagine.
Yeah, so it's hard to imagine, at that time. But what happened with me was a lot of directors of photography complained about lighting me. Wow. Yeah, and I felt like a leper at some point. Because all the fine yellow boys like Stan and Sean Fakwa and Sean Fakwa were getting all the work. But in the biggest black industry where there are black people everywhere, it was difficult to light a black man. And it made me, yeah.
I remember that there was a time in the industry, really, I don't know if you guys can remember, if you're not yellow, yes, very yellow, like you won't get the role. But for me, because I knew what stuff I was made of, and nothing was going to make me change the color of my skin, the only thing I knew to do was to remain tenacious and to keep at it. I said, if you don't give me the role, it's okay. You will come to me and offer me that character. And it has happened to me many times. I remember that I have walked into audition rooms where, they'll give you the most famous feedback, we'll get back to you, and they'll never get back to you. And I've also remembered that a lot of those filmmakers have come back to say, oh, Mommy, I remember when you auditioned for me, you are so perfect for this, my character. And this is just to say that be you, like RMD said today. Just be you and be the best version of you at every point in time, and all things will fall onto you in pleasant places.
A round of applause for that, please. Overcoming colorism is definitely a huge challenge. So thank you so much, Sheon and Omomi, for sharing your stories. Can somebody share an inspiring story from your career? I'll probably push this to Daniel and Timini. and Stan, Mazi Stan. Can you share an inspiring story from your career that has had a profound impact on you personally or professionally?
I'll share my story quickly. I share it at every opportunity I get, just to encourage someone out there. I started off in engineering. I was stuck in the world of oil and gas engineering, but my passion was in entertainment, was in storytelling. You know, I'd watch the likes of RMD and Stella Damasos on TV, and I'll just well up. You know, my eyes would be filled with tears, and I'll be like, that's the life I want. I want to tell stories. I want to be on screen. But I felt trapped because in Nigeria, you know, expectations from your family. I come from a family of professionals, you know, and what they wanted for me was to be an engineer, and that was the life that they had paved for me, and there was no turning back from it. I remember when I was in college, I had decided that I was going to quit engineering. I was going to turn back, I think, in my third year, and go study theater art. And they called a family meeting, and they were like, that's not going to happen, Daniel. You're going to see this thing through, and you're going to be an engineer, and that's it. You know, so it was a struggle for me, but I think my breakthrough came after I graduated, and I was working for a couple of years, and at every opportunity I had, I'd go for open mic shows, and I'd do spoken word, you know, at night. I'd go for auditions and stuff like that in the evenings. I'll go to sets, but then the next day I'll go back to my 9 to 5 as an engineer. Wow. You know, so the two worlds existed side by side until I had this conversation with my uncle, who was this big dude in oil and gas. And he sat me down and he said, Daniel, listen, you're going to have to choose. You know, this thing you're doing, this hobby you're doing is not sustainable. You're going to have to decide and take your life seriously. And at the time, he thought he was scaring me to dump entertainment or dump storytelling or dump film. But what I got was, dude, you have to make up your mind and dump engineering once and for all and choose this life. My greatest fear was that it was not sustainable, because that's what they said. That's what they told me. You're going to be a hungry artist. You're going to be jumping from office to office, asking for people to give you funds for your film. Why don't you do something that's sustainable? And I believed the lie, so that was my greatest fear. But after I had the conversation with my uncle, of course I went to pray and fast, you know, and I got some courage and some faith to take the leap of faith, or take that step. And first thing I did the next day was to type my resignation letter, walked to HR and dropped it, and that was it. I never looked back. And guess what, guys? I'm here today. I ain't hungry. I ain't begging. I made it, mama.
That's right. AMVCA nominee. Yes. All right. Can we get one more?
Hello, everybody. Get me lit. Come on. For me, I feel like I started Nollywood, my journey in Nollywood, and at that point in time, nobody was really writing lead roles for people my age. There was no really young boy lead roles, and I didn't look like I was age mates with them, Alex Ekubo, and all those people that are actually my age. So
wow, shade.
So I used to get
shots fired.
I used to get a lot of younger brother, a lot of son, no lines, and then I got a day player role on Tinsel. And I never used to have lines. I remember, because I used to be really popular in uni, so they knew me as this big boy. But when they were watching me on Tinsel, my boys would call me like, bro, we don't watch you now. You go talk.
Movie extra.
But I used to do it so passionately, and I didn't really let the chatter get to my head. But the story is, Tokwe Oshin, who is the director on Tinsel, was my director at the time. So even if I didn't have lines on screen, I always used to make sure I chatted her up. I always used to make sure that I showed her that I had what it takes. And then MTV Sugar came up. There was a closed audition. Normally I had no business being in that audition, but I got called for the closed audition because Tokwe Oshin noticed me on Tinsel and B. Bandele, may God rest his soul, was the director of Sugar at the time. And the minute I stepped in, I had 9 to 5, ran out with the company driver to get to the close audition, but that's not the story. The minute I got there and I just said, hello, good afternoon, my name is Timini, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yo, this is Toby. And I got the role for Toby on MTV Sugar. I ended up going 7 seasons, the only Nigerian actor that was in all seasons, and that's basically where my
A round of applause, please.
So it's just a thing where I didn't get sad or discouraged at the fact that I wasn't getting the lead roles that I knew that I deserved. And now I have inspired a whole generation of younger actors who now know that Nollywood is profitable, who are now getting lead roles. And, you know, it is what it is now.
Wow, beautiful story. Stan?
Okay, so I think my entire career is an inspiration. I mean, I started off just looking at Ogo Okoye living in my compound and wanting to, Abe, connect me now. Where did they used to go and do this film thing? You know? And they would say, oh, me, I'm just the actor. I don't know how it's the producers and the directors. You know? So I remember my aunt saying then that, what did I want to do with myself, like career-wise? And I said I wanted to be an actor. And she said, okay, who are the actors that have made it in life? Point out. Hey, how much are they earning? And then I heard that Mercy Johnson was collecting 2 million. I said, hey, Mercy Johnson is there. And Dan Foster too, 1 million on radio. I said, he told my mom, no, Maggie. He doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. And something ignited in me that day. I didn't know how, but I knew that I wanted to make it in this industry. I started on my career doing a lot of comedy because that was what was available at the time. So you audition for sitcoms, you know, up and coming actor. It was just sitcoms. It was just, you know, so we would try before they do more like this today because people had to laugh, you know. And I started getting it right. It now became a challenge because there's a problem of stereotype in the industry. So once you have done something and it's good, so everybody just thought I was a comedian. It's only when the title of the film is Mumu Botin, they say, oh, Stan, he'll be good for it, yeah. And I said, why am I just doing comedy? It was not hard to break. Nobody wanted to see me do serious stuff. No, that's not for him. Stupid characters. And that one now became prayer points. I wanted to break through. I wanted to break out of that norm. And one thing I'd wanted for my career throughout is to look colorful, to have a career that could do the bad guy, that could be the fine boy, that could be the sweet boy, that could cry. I just wanted to have color. But nobody was going to give me color because all they had seen about me was stupid. You know, up until 2015, somehow I got cast I read for Tolu Ajayi. You cast for that film as well. So it's called The Encounter, where I acted a soldier, a really brutal soldier. For some awkward reason, everybody now said, guy, I don't know, say you go sabi actor. You know, you have this thing, no? Even people that have worked with Tokpe Oshin, I'd worked with her on Tinsel, or her kind of stupid guy. Telema soldier. So he said, I didn't know you had this. So even people that had worked with me, and remember that Amaki Gui wanted to cast me for something earlier in my career, and she has said that producers are lazy. Nobody really wants to dig deep and try and, you know, that one what you do for a mega film. Just carry it, you know. So it became a challenge until I did that film and went on to do a lot of, you know, great characters. And over the years, I've done like Rattlesnake, I've carried Gone, I've done a Mela Emotional. So I built color, and, you know, we're still viewing. And I'm not going to downplay the place of training as well.
Last question for the day. In a highly competitive field like Nollywood, what advice do you have for aspiring actors who are just starting their career? I want everybody to go. We can keep it nice and short.
Make sure your gift keeps giving. Exercise the muscle every day. Make a video, share it, do whatever. Just make sure you're acting.
Do the gig you have right now like it's your last. You know, show up on time. Yes. Be courteous. You know, all those good things that will make people call you again. Give a memorable performance.
Next. We don't want to hear it, Dan.
I have way too many Way too many enemies. Uncle, you too. Don't compete. Yeah, I never compete. You're on a journey all by yourself. The only competition is the old you. You know, you always have to be a better version of yourself. You dig in deeper and deeper and find meaning for this work that we do. There has to be purpose or you're going to burn out. It's as simple as that.
And sorry, Deyemi, before you pass on the mic, because you haven't spoken today, just one quick question for you. What has been your negotiating, the success in navigating this ever-changing industry for you?
My success in navigating the industry?
Yes. How have you been successful at that?
Having really good mentors is a very crucial thing. He probably wouldn't remember, but I remember one time in 2013, I just quit my job. I walked up to RMD at a restaurant and I looked up at him and I said, "Sir, I want to be like you when I grow up."
Come on. Okay.
I'm happy to say today,
You're not.
you know. I hate you. I would say though that I have spent hours with RMD just getting into that, just trying to understand how he navigated the industry, and that's made life so much easier for me. And it's shown. He tells me stories about things that he went through, and I would go through those same experiences, and I'll make the same decisions that he made. And so when a few years ago I was named the highest grossing actor in Nollywood.
We're not going to hear the last of this, Demi. We're not going to hear the last of this.
Is it best actor or highest grossing actor? Best actor or highest grossing actor?
Baba, no competition.
So next with the advice, let's wrap up real quick. Amaomi.
I would say the only person that can bring you down is you.
Yes.
First thing first, know what stuff you are made of.
That's right.
Never take no for an answer.
Oh, yes.
So even if they tell you no, it's their no, not your no.
Yes.
Keep working at being a better version of yourself.
Yes.
And do not ever forget the one who gave you breath and talent.
Yes.
God.
That's right. All right, Daniel?
Wow, yeah. I would say believe in your process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
It will take you time. It will take you investments. It will take you some hard time. Yes, it will take you some tears.
Toyosi would know.
But just believe in your process. You get there, The fame, all of those other things are not important. Awards, those things are great, they're not important. What is important is your craft. Focus on it and give yourself time. You get there.
Brilliant.
Can I add one more thing? Yeah. Please, no matter what it is, be disciplined. And this cuts across every industry, every sector, every trade.
That's right.
Please be disciplined. Yeah. That's all, because nobody wants to work with an indisciplined actor. Nobody wants.
That's right. Correct. Exactly.
At least if acting doesn't work, you guys can be motivational speakers. Everybody's ginger. I feel like don't compete, but from the angle of like not watching what other people are doing and then now changing the way that you deliver what you deliver, because then you lose your source. You need to find what makes you special, and then you need to keep on feeding that. If DM is doing comedy, Stan is doing this. If I used to watch that and decide to change my style or what I had inside of me, I feel like I wouldn't have been able to bring it out, and I wouldn't have been special at the end of the day. So find what makes you special, and then just water that. Are you special? 100%.
All right. 100%. All right. It has been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much to the Nollywood Sensations. A round of applause for them. Thank you so much. All right. You may please be seated.
So let's take.
Okay, sorry.
Let's give Mofe his 15. Let's give Mofe his 15 seconds of fame as we stand to take the pictures.
I just want to say that Damien's voice deepened after Stan. That's not his real voice. It's like, I'll just be confident.
Take a picture. Show picture. Okay. Yes.
A year before I got the call from Chuck Lorre to create the show, I'd been pitching a show to all the networks based on my Nigerian family, and nobody bought it. Nobody. And so I put it aside, and I was like, well, they're not ready for me. I've always felt like I've been ahead of my time in this industry. I've always pitched stuff, and then nothing happens, and then I see it being done with someone else. And then a year later, I get a call out of the blue from Chuck Lorre, who says, I want to make a show, but I want a Nigerian female protagonist. And CBS was interested. So for me, it was irritating. I'm like, I've been pitching this shit for a whole year, nobody wanted it. And this white man comes along and goes, I'm going to make a show with Nigerians. And everybody goes, yeah, that sounds amazing. So it was very frustrating, but I'm also grateful because he didn't have to do that. We've seen how African people have been depicted in movies and television in the past, and that's from white people thinking that they know us and they can make a show without our input. So at least he had the foresight to go, you know what? We're white guys, we don't know anything about the culture. Let's get somebody who can give us a proper insight and help insight and make this thing authentic. So I'm very grateful for that. But at the same time, I'm frustrated that I was pitching the show a year before and nobody was interested because they didn't know what to do. It took a white man to get a show about Nigerians made. So that's the industry we're in at this point.
And that's the truth. The beauty about being Nigerians is we have organic hustle in us. We don't take no for an answer. So we create the opportunities. You know, I was working at the Federal Reserve and was using my vacation days to do background work on sets, to meet the crews, to hire them to shoot my short films on weekends. That was how I was training myself for this industry and creating my opportunities, because people weren't opening the doors for us, but that's what we have to do.
Mm-hmm. But now you're a showrunner to be reckoned with. Hello. Talk to us a bit about that journey, you know. Talk to us a bit about
real quick.
Yes.
Before you pass over. I think it's also us supporting each other. Mm-hmm. You see other cultures supporting each other. Absolutely. And in turn, people are like, what's going on over there? The fact that in music, in film, in television, we're finally supporting ourselves fully. Mm-hmm. And people are wanting to jump on the bandwagon and figure out what's going on over there? Why is everybody gravitating over there? We want to be a part of it too. We've been the ish from the beginning.
Speak it.
We've known this from the beginning. So it's just, it's time. Yeah. It's God's time. So that's why.
Amen.
And we're here at Essence. Our own people finally, bringing us in.
Finally?
Finally.
Finally!
Finally. Okay, let's go back to Carol. Talk to us a bit about that journey. How did you go from the Federal Reserve to being this showrunner that everyone wants to work with?
Thank you. I told my mom at 13 that I wanted to be a writer, and typical Nigerian mother, God bless her, she laughed really hard, and then...
Well, yeah, she laughed? She didn't beat you? Okay.
She laughed, and then she left the room, and that was the end of the conversation. So I studied economics, as one does when that happens. But I never lost my love of storytelling and art, and so I was just very strategic. Even in college, I was a theater minor, but my mother didn't know that until I graduated. All she cared about was the economics degree, and I got that. And then even working at the Fed, I wanted to be at the New York Fed, so I was near the theater scene. So for the majority of my 20s, and yeah, I know I look like I'm still there, but not. But for the majority of my 20s, my routine was, I'm at the trading desk at 6:30 in the morning. I trade for most of the morning. I do my economic analysis that's going to whatever chairman at the time. And then 5 p.m. I would leave and then go to the theater. And it was whatever black box theater in New York, we were putting up our plays. Sometimes I made it home to go to bed. Sometimes I didn't. I'd go back to the Fed, shower at the gym, change, and be back on the trading desk. And that was the hustle for my 20s. Because again, that's what we have to do. And then I loved theater. It's what my training was in, but TV was my baby. I loved TV. I still consume way too much TV instead of sleeping.
It's research. It's research.
It is research. And so I knew I needed to teach myself how to write for TV because I couldn't afford to quit my job and go back to school. I like knowing where my car note comes from. It's very important to me. And so I did. I put myself through my own masterclass. I would download scripts off the internet, watch the shows that I loved, and and teach myself how to write for those. And then, like I said, I used my vacation days to do background work, to meet crew. Everyone was trying to get a line here, a line there. I'd be sitting next to the boom operator like, so what do you do? And how did you get your job? And how do you become a sound mixer? And what does that do? And that was how I learned the industry. And then ultimately, some of my short films did really well on the film festival circuit, landed me my manager, also called Adesua. And
I'm the hype man.
But she is.
At the post office, you can drive a bus, you know? So we've been constantly fighting that.
Yep.
And that's what I was brought up with, that constant struggle and fight, trying to make it. And, you know, and when you're born of immigrant parents, you know they're like, you will do better.
Yes.
You know, we are sacrificing for you to be here. So you will do doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, nothing else.
And you don't want to fail, right? Because I'm not going back to my mom like, yeah, I quit my job at the Fed and I failed. Like, that's not an option.
Absolutely.
It's not an option.
My mum didn't believe in the comedy thing. When I told her what, she was like, so you're leaving engineering to become a clown. What is this nonsense? But then I got on TV, you know?
And then it's,
and then my mum was like,
Everything changes once you get on TV.
They take full credit, full credit. To hear my mom say it, she started my writing career. I'm like,
I wrote her first script. She doesn't know it, but.
Great. So last words, really, or final words as we end this panel. We really want more inclusion in Hollywood, more representation. It's beautiful for us to see, see what happened with Wakanda and see what happened with like a Woman King. We want more of those movies. How do we make that happen?
We have to support each other. We have to go to each other's screenings, go to each other's comedy shows. I'm doing a tour right now, Woman King of Comedy. Anyway, continue. We just have to support each other. Support each other. Go to each other's things. Help each other make things. This is how we do it. Do what the white people do. Support each other. Build together. That's the only way we're going to get this, you know, get a real foothold in this industry and not have it controlled by other people. This is what we need to do.
and also don't take no for an answer. Nowadays, there's no one way to get your project out there. No one can stop you from writing. No one can stop you from, listen, people throw a lens on an iPhone and create their projects and put it on YouTube, and now all of a sudden, you know, Amazon or Netflix or whoever wants to acquire it. Make your projects. Do not take no for an answer. Do not listen to anyone who tells you that your story and your narrative isn't worthy of an audience, because we all know different.
Exactly. Do not
make it anyway. That is literally what we do. Make it anyway, because you never know where the opportunity is going to come from. You never know where the open door is going to be, or the window, or the whatever, and just be ready to jump through that. I didn't know where my start was going to come from, but I knew if I had those short films ready to go, I knew if I had those scripts ready to go, when that opportunity came, I was going to leap through that door. And that's what we all have the power to do.
Exactly. You don't let the gatekeepers validate you.
Exactly.
You know, Bob Hart had a show like, you know how I got this show? I asked Chuck and the guys, how did you find me? They said, we Googled Nigerian female comedian.